What's good, YouTube? It's the Brandon McCallie coming at you with a top 4 OTS Championship punk profile.
Hey YouTube, this is about 2 weeks late coming on now, but I'm finally taking the time to put together the deck list that I used to get top 4 at my OTS. It was 5 rounds and then top cut, top 8, top 4. I do have some matchup notes to go through, but I'll start with some of the cards in the deck here. So I played Punk Psychic. Did not expect to do well. I kind of just showed up, but got top 4, and the deck played way better than I expected. If I could never see this card again, I would, but other than that, no complaints about the deck. Going to get started, basic 3 Foxy-Tune, 3 Ogre Dance, 3 Zeoman, 9 copies of Zeoman, basically. The one downside of this is it does hurt if you get drolled. If you have a way to get to Rising Scale as your first search, always attempt to do so. It really does suck if you don't have access to Rising Scale and they droll you. Um, if you have access to Rising Scale, droll does not really hurt as bad. But I will say this card, hit or miss. Sometimes I love it, sometimes I hate it. I still think you need to run 3 though. You want to get Zeoman as much as possible. 2 copies of Deerno. The second one does come up quite frequently. The hand effect is still good. It's a great way to play through hand tries to get interrupted. Having a level 5 body for your level 3 tuners, really, really good. Um, some level modulation, you can even jump to a 9, but main thing, you do want this to go into your level 8 a lot easier. 1 Wagon, 1 Sharkusai, not playing Madam Spider. Madam Spider may be sideable, but you're not really searching Madam Spider in the combo anymore if you're wanting to bridge into Punk, and I'll kind of go over that in a minute. But I think the one trap is not as good as the rest of the board you can make if you search Wagon, or not, sorry, not Wagon, Madam Spider over other cards. Sharkusai, pretty much mandatory. Quick synchro on your opponent's turn, fusion on your turn. 50% of the time, he's not live on your turn if you're going through your psychic plays. However, the opportunity to synchro on your opponent's turn or just an extra level 3 synchro does come up. And 1 Extreme Session, one of the most broken cards in the psychic art field. Uh, drawing cards for paying life points. So your whole gimmick of psychics is paying life points. Plus, it's an extender. One little note about Wagon, its second effect here, it is a when effect. When your opponent executes a card effect that targets one monster you control, when your opponent's monster attacks targets one for an attack, you can draw 1 card. That when came up for me the first time ever when I was playing against Radiant Typhoon, because they had a graveyard trigger as Chainlink 2 and their target is Chainlink 1. I could not chain to draw, and the top deck would have been Rising Scale, which would have won me the game on the spot, but unfortunately, doesn't always go that way. So that is your Punk lineup in the main deck. This card here, Hush Psychic Master, moving into the Psychics, this is the card you are now searching off of Dragon Drive instead of Madam Spider. This lets you bridge into all of your Psychic combo. Pretty much mandatory. It has a secondary effect, which I'll cover later because it does come up quite frequently, actually. 1 copy of Serene Psychic Girl. She's really, really good because she's full combo by herself. But if your opponent imperms you here, you kind of just normal summoned a level 2 and you can do nothing. So the 1 is better. You want to get to it off of something like E-Telly, or if you have it in your hand and you have an extender, go for it. But it really is a lot better as a special summon than your normal summon. But if you had no other plays, it is still really good. It is still full combo. We got Mind Procedure here. This is a 2 of, I could maybe be 3, but it is kind of a hefty pay. Your life does get a little low, and one wrong move and you can lose very easily. Yes, I know the whole gimmick is pay your life points, but you still got to be careful with it. But this gets you access to mainly emergency teleport, occasionally teleport fusion. I have searched a couple times if I already have emergency teleport instead of trying to set it later, which I'll go over the card that sets it. But those are your main psychic monsters you're adding. Then we get into the hand trap lineup. So basic 3 Ash because Fua sucks. You can pretty much play through Perulia for the most part with very few draws. Fualos, you really do have to give your opponent a lot of draws in order to set up a good board. 3 Veiler, 3 Imperm, 3 Fua of your own because Fua is a broken card. Yes, I skipped over these. I'm going to go over these in a second. But these are the main hand traps that are non-searchable in your deck. Gamma and Delta are searchable off of Lambda, which you can trigger through Hush Psychic Minister. So if you're end board, you're generally going to have most likely the Blaster MK2 and a Lambda plus Jam Fever, most basic end board. With that, you can trigger your Psychic Minister to banish it from grave, and then target your MK2, banish it to the end of the turn, which triggers Lambda. Lambda gets you a search for Gamma or Delta, depending on what you feel you need. Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit, if you've already drawn the Hush Psychic Minister, you search Ghost Ogre and Snow Rabbit. It's a searchable hand trap. I've searched it quite often, actually. It is really good still in niche scenarios. Not as strong as it has been in past formats, but I think it's still pretty good. As you the 3 E-Tele, 1 Teleport Fusion, you really only need the one. I've never used more than one, and I've never missed the second one or third one. It really is just the one and done kind of deal. One cross out, one call by, because you need more ways to stop Fulos. Going into the side deck here, we've got 2 Droll and Lockbird, because it is still really good this format. 3 Perulia, shouldn't have to explain that one. This was kind of a bad decision. 2 Lightning Storm, 1 Feather Duster. I never cited these in. Maybe the Lightning Storm if I was going second against a deck that was going to put up a solid board, but never really came up. I'd probably change out some of these cards. 3 Forbidden Droplet. This is really good because you can get your bodies off the board. If your opponent goes to Imperm, they'll Baylor them, especially the smaller bodies like Serene Psychic Girl or Zealman. You want those cards to resolve. Being able to dodge going second into your opponent's board if they have hand traps. You can also negate their monsters in the process too if they have a negate on board. It is really, really good. I do recommend keeping this in. Non-fusion area, I did not see a single fusion deck all day. So I didn't actually use this somehow. There was fusion players there. I just did not see them somehow. And 1 Shen Shen in the side. I cited this in almost every single match. I should have mained it. I'll tell you what I was citing up for it as we get to the end here. But definitely missed this card being in the main. But I still cited it a lot. Made it only a couple times because it only came up in a few scenarios. But I did like the ability to be able to go into it. Going to extra deck here, we got Almirage, Link 1 with Zealman. Makes Zealman a 1 card starter instead of a 1.5 card starter now with Rising Scale. If you play Punk, you should know the combo. I can try to do some combos at the end here and kind of show some of what the deck can do. Lambda, really, really good end board piece. Lets you turn on your side frames on your opponent's turn, even though you have cards on field. Lets you search your hand traps. Really good. Rising Carp, potentially cuttable. You're not really triggering Sharkusai that often, but there are a few hands where it's like Sharkusai plus D or no, and you just kind of gotta hope your opponent doesn't have a way to stop you. But that is full combo that way. We got Axe and Oracle, Kicker Oracle. This card, I was my main summon target off of Teleport Fusion. The summon negate is really, really nice. However, I did find myself more and more making Absolute Axon Kicker. This card on summon lets you pay 2,000, banish all face-up cards your opponent controls. board wiping is actually really, really strong. And then it floats into the Axon Kicker Oracle, and it is treated as a fusion summon, so it is properly summoned. Um, so this is really, really good combo. You get this on board, and if your opponent outs it, you still get a body, but it's hard to out because it can't be triggered by card effects and has 3,400 attack. So this won me a couple games. You got the Jam Fever, the negate that Punk needed. You got your Silent Psychic Magician, level 5. So it comes up if you don't change Serene Psychic Girl's level. Sometimes I have found myself changing her level, but it is a way to kind of bridge yourself upwards. So it is important to have. One of the least used cards in this extra deck, though, we've got Serene Psychic Sorceress, and she's basically your go-to to get Teleport Fusion. Also a 6 to get you into a 9 easier with some of the level 3s. Made at most games. The secondary effect comes up every now and then. To synchro some cards into the grave, you can target one card your opponent controls or 2. If you control a Psychic Monster, Fusion, or Synchro, and then return those cards to the hand. This really does help clear a board going second and get to your Teleport Fusion, which you can then banish this from the graveyard for that fusion. So it's really, really good to have. Crossmine Archfiend is nice as an extender. It actually helped me play through some Bystials because I was able to, when they went to Baldrake, my Synchro 8, I just get myself a tuner back and keep playing. Omega, not as good as I had hoped it was going to be. This is the card I kept citing out for Shenshin. Going first, you get that hand rip, potentially trigger Lambda in the process. Um, I think I made it once the entire tournament, and it was basically to play around a super poly by forcing them to either use it there or lose the last card in their hand. But then it being a solemn strike they had set anyways, so they did not have super poly. I just misread based on previous games. It was okay. I wish it was other cards at times, but oh well. We got the Dragon Drive, really good card. Searches anything you need pretty much, and it makes you your Jam Fever. Blaster MK2, really good card. The life point gain really does help you turn on the Axon Kicker sometimes. Sometimes you're ending your turn at 2,000 life points. So this is good. Good interruption. One of the better cards. The extension with it too to summon back a banished monster is really helpful. Dreishin, this is the level 11 I made the most the entire tournament. It is just really good. It, you know, wiping your opponent's face-up monsters or face-up spell traps, really good. The gaining life aspect is good. Again, that helps keep you alive and lets you use your paving effects later. Amazing Dragon and Psychic and Punisher. These are cards that are also debatably cuttable. I By the time I could make Psychic and Punisher, my opponent was scooping because I know they lost. Amazing Dragon, I would maybe argue to keep it because if you don't lock yourself into Psychics early, you can use it to bring back something from the grave and then make your Xyz with this. So it has multi-purpose ability, not just the bouncing for OTKing, but definitely I think Psychic and Punisher at this point is cuttable. You have such large bodies, just going through here, that you don't really need this card anymore. If you're, Punisher passing, you're probably losing the game. Let's be real. So, I'll kind of go over some of the matchups real quick. Round 1, I played Fiendsmith Live Twin. I lost a die roll 1-2-1. Round 2, 2-0. It was yummy with the new Dark Magician cards, like to get the gaze and stuff like that. 2-0'd them winning the die roll. 2-0'd Ryziel. I lost the die roll round 3. I went 0-2 against Radiant Typhoon. Lost the die roll. That is when that came up with the if, where I could have won if it was an if, not a when. And then game 2, I got double fluid. So, yeah, sometimes your opponent just has it all. Then round 5, I did go 0-2 again against White Force Azamina. They won the die roll. Or sorry, I won the die roll. Just, end up being they drew better hands than I did. but I still made top cut. Top 8, I replayed that same White Force Azamina player, lost a die roll, and proceeded to 2-0 them. So it was a complete reversal. It just, I had the better hands this time. And then top 4, I lost 1-2 to Malice. I won the die roll, but unfortunately, they also had double Fua. So sometimes double Fua, you just lose the game. But this is the deck. Some changes, actually, potentially. I was talking about maybe doing a Radiant Typhoon Vision package with MST and Fallen on the Virtuous, because the E-Tellies are all quick plays. So you're already running a decent amount of quick plays. Some draw power would be nice, some more disruption. Probably cut Punisher for Albion. Some hand traps that I was considering trying to find a way to get in. Ghost Spell and Haunted Mansion, Ghost Mortar Moonlit Chill. The MST potentially even could be upped in order to get more back row disruption instead of the Lightning Storms and the Feather Duster. Who knows? These are some of the ideas I had. But we're going to go back to here, and we're going to set this as default. I was playing with X-Saber, so you can ignore that. We're going to go to solo mode, and I'll kind of just show you a quick hand combo. This is an example where you would really hope that you don't get drolled here, or you go for E-Telly first. In fact, actually, I almost would say E-Telly first, because if they ash this card, you just, go Ogre Dance and hope they don't have it. But, if we're going to just play with no hand traps right now. You're going to summon. This is where I would, like I said, because you still have your ability to normal summon, I would go for the Serene Psychic Girl here. And then you're going to declare. You're going to banish this Fua because you're not going to use it because you're going first. And you're going to get yourself a Mind Procedure. And now you're locked into Psychic from the extra deck. So this does kind of change how you play a little bit. But you're going to activate Mind Procedure, and you're going to grab yourself another copy of E-Telly. So this is, pretend this is just a blank card in your hand right now. E-Telly again. Oops. Looking a little too fast here. You're going to summon out your Zeomen. You're going to pay 6 for your Zeomen. And you're going to get yourself the Rising Scale now. Like I said, you're only locked in the extra deck. So, you can still summon things like Rising Scale without any issue. You're going to use the second effect. These are going to go up by a level each. So these are level 4. This card can be used as a non-tuner for this synchro summon of a psychic monster. So that's exactly what you're going to do. And your 4th summon here, you're going to summon Dragon Drive, Declare, and you're going to add yourself this card here, and you're going to pay 600 for that because I forgot to do that. Now you're going to overlay as your 5th summon. You've now Nibiru-proofed your board. Now here's where you can do one of two things, right? You could have also made this card a level 3 when you increase the levels of your other 2 monsters. I chose not to, just to kind of do a basic line here. So you're going to special summon this card in defense, and then you're going to synchro summon into this card here, the Silent Psychic Magician. Declare. You're going to bring back, my procedure, why not? Increase its level by 1. And now you can synchro. These are both tuners, but both of them have the ability to be treated as a non-tuner for this synchro summon of a psychic monster. So now you're going to get your MK Blaster too. Boom. Now you're going to special summon. You're going to banish your p.u.n.k monster here, and you're going to special summon. I actually think the better option here is the Way Gone. Now I will say, right here you can go 600, and you're off the Way Gone, and you need 600 for the Rising Scale. Sorry, I'm better on paper about keeping track. You have the Field Spell, activate. Now you have 2 all-lines here you can do. So you can go here, and you can go to grave, into grave. If the game will catch up to me, here we go. And you can go into duration or you can go into lambda. So here I will actually go into duration because we have technically the extra extender in our hand. Now, if this is a hand trap, you get to debate with yourself if you want the lambda and to be able to continue playing into and getting either gamma or delta. But in this situation, because we have the extra body, what we can do is banish from grave and special summon effective blaster and K2 to special summon from their banish. And we'll special summon here. And I'm choosing this for a reason, which we'll cover in a second. So now you're going to link these two into lambda. Now you're going to trigger your Zeoman's second effect, and now this Jam Fever gains 600 attack. So it's 3,400. And now you can trigger this card here, banishing, and we'll banish this one. And now we're just going to banish this card to the end phase, triggering this card. And now we pass here, and in end phase, we get to special summon this back. And we get to search for either gamma or delta. I find myself a lot of times searching the delta, to be quite honest, for some protection from spell traps. But especially because I have, let's see, one monster negate, two monster negate, three monster negates, we're going to go ahead and add this to our hand. And now this is our end board, and that was basically off of one E-Telly and an extender. Obviously not playing through hand traps. How you play changes based on the hand traps your opponent has. But super basic combo. Could have played it differently, starting with the punk lines, and you could have gone into the fusion potentially. Got into this before you did some of the other psychic plays. You could have made the Serene Psychic Girl 3, and then summoned out the Serene Psychic Sorceress, paid 2,000, get yourself the quick play teleport fusion. But there's different ways to play it, so hopefully you enjoyed. I appreciate the channel for having me on, but that is my top cut punk deck. Have a great day.